The best thing since Super Saiyan is finally upon us. The long-awaited Gear 5 is finally about to reveal itself. But before we tap into this new power of Luffy, let's look back at Luffy's journey and how he came to possess and harness the power of one of the strongest and rarest devil fruits in the One Piece universe. Luffy got his rubber powers from a special fruit known as the Gomu Gomu no Mi, also known as the Gum Gum fruit. At the age of 7, Luffy found the fruit in a small chest under the care of Shanks' crew while they resided in Fuchsia Village. One day, as they were celebrating at Party's bar, Luffy decided to eat this mystery fruit because he was hungry, giving him a rubbery body and robbing him of the ability to swim. The twist is that this fruit isn't just any normal fruit. It's actually a unique type known as the mythical Zoan fruit, specifically the Hito Hito no Mi, model Nika. This fruit was highly sought after by the world government for 800 years, and with a will of its own, the fruit evaded their everlasting search. Shanks and his crew stole it from them 13 years before our story begins. The government hid its true nature, claiming it was a different, less significant fruit. But in reality, this fruit literally contains the essence of a god. In their epic battle atop Skull Dome, Luffy confronts the mighty Kaido in a clash of wills and powers. As Luffy unleashes his Gear 4th Snake Man attacks, Kaido, surprised by the bending trajectory of Luffy's punches, muses to himself about the nature of rubber and how it shouldn't allow such movements. This remark hints at a deeper mystery surrounding Luffy's Devil Fruit power because it suggests that Luffy's Devil Fruit may harbor hidden abilities or an undiscovered element that defies the conventional properties of rubber. This revelation adds a new layer of intrigue to the ongoing narrative and raises the question of what other powers Luffy's Devil Fruit might hold. The fact that the Gum Gum fruit was previously possessed by the world government before Shanks acquired it just adds further questions. Now let's get back on track. Nika, the beaming sun god who's all about spreading cheer and championing freedom, seems to be tied to this human fruit in a crazy cool way. Remember Chopper's human fruit? That's the only fruit we've seen so far that has no effect on regular humans. But with a Rumble Ball, it powers up to allow not just 3 forms like your everyday Zoan, but a whopping 7. This mirrors our hero Luffy's journey, who started off fascinated by this whole idea and ultimately sported 7 epic forms himself. His base form, the Speedy Gear 2nd, the Colossal Gear 3rd, the Mighty Gear 4th Bound Man, the Robust Gear 4th Tank Man, the Agile Gear 4th Snake Man, and the totally new, jaw-dropping Gear 5th. With his new rubber body, Luffy can stretch and fire off any part of himself like a rocket. But it doesn't stop there. He becomes immune to electricity. Bullets or punches bounce off him unless they're loaded with hockey, and he can puff up like a balloon. Over time, by flexing his rubber body in all sorts of wild ways, he learns to pull off some seriously mind-blowing attacks. Talk about an upgrade. If you'd like to see more upgrades, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell so you'll never miss a thing. The Gum Gum pistol is definitely Luffy's signature move. He draws back his arm and rockets it forward to slam into his opponent with serious force. But when he really needs to pack a punch, he'll use both arms in pretty much the same motion, slamming into foes with the Gum Gum Bazooka. Need a quick getaway? No problem. Luffy's got the Gum Gum rocket at his disposal. He can stretch his arms, latch onto something, and slingshot himself away at breakneck speed. Then there's the Gum Gum Gatling, more of a flurry of punches. Luffy moves his fists so swiftly, it seems like he has a whole barrage of fists lunging at his opponent. Perfect for when he wants to rain down some serious pain or handle a large bunch of enemies. The Gum Gum rifle is like a leveled up pistol. As he pulls his arm back, he starts twirling it, releasing it with the extra torsional force to land a concentrated and more damaging blow on the opponent. Another go-to move that pops up quite often is the Gum Gum Whip. As the name suggests, it's a whip-style attack, where Luffy uses one of his legs to swipe through a large group. Luffy's also got a defensive move that comes in handy quite often, the Gum Gum Balloon. By puffing himself up, he can repel things or provide some solid protection for himself. Now for some personal favorites. Gum Gum Fireworks sees Luffy jumping up, twisting himself, then untwisting, sending his arms and legs flying out to randomly attack a large group. Gum Gum UFO turns his legs into a propeller that lets him hover around in the air. And finally, Water Luffy. That's just Luffy after he's gulped down a ton of water. You can see the rubbery abilities the fruit grants have loads of straightforward uses, but there's also a good bit of inventiveness that Luffy brings into these moves. If he hadn't put some imagination into these, he wouldn't have come as far as he has. But it doesn't end there. Next, we've got Gear Second. Inspired by CP9's shave technique, Luffy starts pumping his blood super fast. He turns red, emits steam, and bam! He's like a bullet train on steroids. At first, he needed his legs to work like pumps to kick off some of the state, but later he learned easier ways. Even though it used to drain him, he's now got it under control. In Gear Second, Luffy can stand up to the toughest guys. He could even land a blow on Blackbeard or Magellan. No small feat. Let's talk names. In Gear Second, you'll hear Jet a lot. Take the Gum Gum pistol. It's now Gum Gum Jet Pistol. Fast as a speeding bullet, it's nearly invisible until it hits. Time skip rolls in, and things get birdie. Jet attacks are still there, but say hello to the Hawk series. These are jet attacks with a sprinkle of hockey. Gum Gum Red Hawk? That's a super fast punch on fire, inspired by his late brother, Fire Fist Ace. And don't forget the Eagle and Rock series, basically bird-themed, hockey-infused speed monsters. Might sound like weapons, but it could have been hinting at Luffy's Zoan-type fruit all along. Next on the list is Gear Third, a game-changing upgrade for Luffy which takes the concept of rubber to a whole new level of imagination. Luffy inflates his bones by blowing air into his thumb, a concept that defies reality but is perfectly in tune with the world of One Piece. He can inflate any part of his body, transforming even the smallest part of himself into gigantic proportions, enabling his attacks not only to increase in attack power, but also swift and colossal. When this power was first introduced, Luffy shrank to half his size after using it. But as he trained and honed his skills, he overcame this drawback. Now, he can transition out of Gear Third without any negative effects. The idea of blowing air into the thumb to inflate the body may sound crazy, but it's this level of imagination that makes the One Piece universe so fascinating. For instance, he can deliver a giant pistol or a giant axe attack. When he infuses hockey into these attacks, they are given animal names like Elephant Gun and Grizzly Magnum. His Thor Elephant Gun even adds a lightning element to the attack. So you know how in Gear Third, Luffy blows into his thumb to balloon up his bones, right? But with Gear Fourth, Luffy gets creative and instead he puffs up his arm. The result? His body isn't as gigantic as Gear Third, but boy does he look way more buff. Although he's kind of top-heavy, his limbs look all toughened up and covered in armament hockey. Starting off with Gear Fourth, Bound Man, our buffed-up Luffy can't stop bouncing around like a rubber ball. He can't even stand in place. But wait till you see the other trick he has up his sleeve. He can pull his limbs right into his body, build up insane pressure, and then boom! He launches them out. It's like his own version of a punch rocket launcher. This form focuses more on compression rather than stretching. This boasts Luffy with stronger attacks and faster movements but limits the range of his attacks. Now, Gear Fourth is great and all, but it isn't without some drawbacks. Our boy Luffy can't keep this up forever, and it takes a serious toll on his stamina. Initially, after using Gear Fourth, Luffy's left completely immobile. Even worse, he can't use hockey for about 10 minutes. And if he has to use it twice in a row, like in the fight against Doflamingo, he's knocked out cold for 3 days. But Luffy being Luffy, he doesn't let these setbacks stop him. He keeps pushing his limits, practicing, and slowly but surely, these effects start to diminish. Of course, as far as his fight with Kaido goes, he's still got a few kinks to work out with these abilities. Ready for the best part? Gear Fourth has an epic showstopper move called the Gomu Gomu no King Kong Gun. It's so freaking powerful, it was the final blow that defeated Doflamingo and leveled the city below. There's also a move known as Gomu Gomu no Rhino Schneider, where Luffy compresses both of his legs inside his body, then delivers a flying double kick, capable of sending an opponent through dozens of buildings. Moving along, we've got Tank Man. It's kinda like a super defensive version of Gear Fourth that Luffy used against Cracker on Whole Cake Island. We've only seen this form once, so there isn't much detail on it. And then there's Snake Man. In this form, Luffy gains a significant increase in speed and the ability to use Python to change the direction of his attacks. Snake Man allows his attacks to continuously accelerate the longer they last, allowing Luffy not only to press an attack more fiercely on an opponent capable of dodging, but also to increase the attack speed and power until he finally lands the hit. However, because of his body's lack of inflation, Luffy's defense is considerably worse compared to his Bound Man and Tank Man forms. During his fight with Katakuri, he took the impact like he normally would, as opposed to bouncing as he does in Bound Man. Additionally, he receives blunt attacks as he does normally rather than having them bounce off of him. Each of these forms shows off just how wildly imaginative Luffy is with his rubber powers. And finally, we reach the absolute peak, Gear 5. The Gorosei spilled the beans that Luffy's powers in this awakened state are only limited by his wild imagination. He can do basically anything, and he pulls off stunts like he's a character right out of Looney Tunes. Now hold up, just like every other form, Gear 5th comes with a hefty price tag. And if I had to guess, the cost could be something fatal. Remember how Gear 2nd shortens Luffy's lifespan and wears him out? How Gear 3rd shrinks his body and leaves him unable to move after a big attack? And Gear 4th? That leaves him knocked out cold for days. So what's the cost of Gear 5th? We're gonna have to sit tight and see. But from this escalating pattern, it's safe to say it might be something major. Now with Luffy's fruit being a mythical Zoan, his abilities take on a whole new light, which I think makes a lot more sense. It's this combo of different forms and imaginative understanding of rubber powers that makes Luffy's attacks so unique. So what do y'all think? Are you loving the model Nika twist or not so much? Or maybe you just need some more time to see how it unfolds. As for Luffy's other forms, which one's your favorite? I gotta say, I have a soft spot for Gear 2nd, but Gear 4th? Pure genius. But who knows, with Gear 5th making such a stunning debut, it might just take the top spot. But for now, drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button. It really helps us out and lets us know what you want to see more of. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss any more of our upcoming videos. Thanks for tuning in, hope you had a blast. Stay tuned and see you next time.